Good evening, everyone. I'm Joel Tatum, and it's That Little Gay Talk Show. Usually at this time, you hear the theme music first, but today I'm doing something a little bit special because I, of course, have a sponsor for the show. It's 2V's Woodworking. And if you go to my webpage at thatlittlegaytalks.com, all you have to do is scroll all the way to the bottom and click on his little picture, which will take you straight to his website. He does all kinds of custom woodworking. He made me a custom cutting board for my show with the show's logo on it. And now that he has a new webpage, for those of my listeners out there who might be listening, I know it's not a lot of you, but someday it might be, you will get a 20% off discount on all cutting boards using the promo Little Gay, which he came up with. And I thought that was just so cute. Oh, Little Gay. Kind of reminds me of a pocket gay. So we're going to get on with it, and I'm going to play some theme music, and let's get on with our show and our special guest, which I will introduce in a minute. Everybody dance. Get up. Get up. That Little Gay Talk Show. 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 And welcome once again to That Little Gay Talk Show. Don't worry, editing will be involved in this. So it's not a big deal. On today's show, and I hope my guest doesn't mind this, because ever since I met him on Growler, of all places, because, you know, I do little shouts on Growler. And if most of you are familiar with Growler, they have a little shout section where everybody can do their little advertisements. Sometimes, you know, they have like little house parties, you know, very naughty house parties that they announce on there, or massages, or all kinds of stuff. So I decided to do a little promo for the show. And lo and behold, I got Drag Queen in an RV. And I mean, the moment that we talked, a little ditty played in my head going, Drag Queen in the RV, Drag Queen in an RV, Drag Queen in an RV. And I just, for days, it went on for days. That's how weird my brain is. I have ShottGunz, or Scott.
Hi.
Say hello to everyone, Scott.
Hello, everyone.
How
are you?
Everyone, I'm so excited to have him on the show. I'm super excited to have him on the show. Scott, you know what I forgot to do?
What?
Girl, what's your last name?
Well, actually, my
I don't want to just say Scott. Hey, everybody, it's Scott.
So, actually, my full drag name is Charlotte Shotgun. But I feel like ShottGunz is more captivating. They're like, oh, ShottGunz. So I just go with ShottGunz on like all platforms of social media. But my last name is Mejia. It's like some sort of like Mexican or something. That's what I am.
Some sort of Mexican. What else is mixed in there, girl?
Well, my mom's side is Mexican, but my dad, I don't know much about his family, but his mother is Spaniard from Spain, and she has like blonde hair and blue eyes. And my grandpa's like Native American because he barely speaks Spanish. He speaks his own language.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't really talk to them, so I don't know much.
Well, that's an uncomfortable laugh. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be. Should I be? I don't think I should be laughing about that. That was uncomfortable. I apologize.
I mean, I was laughing too. 'Cause I don't know what the fuck I am.
Well, that's all. That's okay. We're in America, baby. We don't know what the fuck we are either. Everybody's a little bit of everybody. I know. So, what's going on in your world? Tell us about you a little bit, and about ShottGunz, which.
So, my name is Charlotte. I'm, I guess, like, I identify as non-binary, which is like I don't really fall into the categories of like super hyper feminine or super masculine. You know, like sometimes I feel beautiful and sometimes I feel handsome. And you know, I don't care about pronouns. You can call me whatever I look like, as long as you don't call me a he when I'm in drag, and I'll get real mad.
Well, you're.
Yeah, you can continue.
No, well, your drag is actually. It's very interesting. It's actually kind of shocking. I love it. Now, if you want to see some of his pictures, I wish I did a little bit more video. And like I said, I wish he was in the studio with me, just to let everybody know. I'm going to have to get tested for COVID because I have a few of the symptoms. So I decided not to have anybody in the studio. So he's actually on the phone with me today. I was actually looking forward to having him in the studio sitting across from me. It would have been so much fun. Girl, I had cheese and crackers. I had meats. I had premium cocktails. I had premium cocktails ready. And then
you should have an alcohol sponsor soon. Can you imagine?
Well, I feel like every gay show has an alcohol sponsor. For real. I mean,
it is.
I know. Gays and alcohol have been going together for thousands of years.
Did you know that 80% of consumers of alcohol are gay people?
Yes. I'm
just kidding. I made that up.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised by
true.
that.
It's fucking true.
I would not be. And 40% of those end up in AA at some point. So
I know, right? They lose 1 year they gain business, 1 year they lose business.
Yes, I know. But they get it back because 30% go right back.
Yeah, right. After 2 weeks,
when they realize that the dick doesn't look that good in a meeting, so they're right back out in the streets. No, I don't want to hear. Please, nobody slam me. It's just jokes. It's just jokes. It's just jokes. I know that people in AA, as one who grew up in Al-Anon because of alcoholic parents, I take it seriously, so I understand. But you know, we can make jokes. Everybody can joke. So, so you are my traveling drag queen. Tell everybody the story. How do you decide to get into to just sell everything, get into an RV, and hit the road?
Okay, so back in September, I was dating this person, and our lease was almost up. Maybe it was like in about a year ago, actually, in July. We were thinking about what we were going to move or where we were going to move after our lease was done. Mm-hmm. So we're like looking at places, we're looking at different cities, and then he suggested that why don't we move in an RV? And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, that sounds really weird. And I wasn't really actually looking forward to it. So then as the more time passed, he's like, come on, let's do it. Like, what do we have to lose? We can find a job. We can go there. We can go here. We don't really have a place to stay. We can move every 3 months. And I was just like, okay, why not? So when we settled on buying an RV, which our first RV is actually a pop-up camper. It was very small. It was smaller than my room. Smaller than my bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
So I went from living in this crazy apartment to like downsizing to something that was probably a little bit smaller than my bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
And I had to figure out a way to store all my clothes and everything. So we had a little gay garage sale / party, and we sold everything. We sold our TVs, we sold our couches, we sold our bed frame, we sold everything that we had. And we took off in the camper. We took off in a van, and the pop-up camper followed along there. Mm-hmm. So our first destination, we left Florida on September 15th. Mm-hmm. And our first destination was Kentucky, Burlington, Kentucky, to work for Amazon for 3 months until December.
Okay.
But we didn't start work until the 25th. Of September, so we had 10 days to do whatever the fuck we wanted. So we traveled up the East Coast. We went to Savannah, Georgia. We went up the east. I don't remember the other states. And we traveled. We went to every gay bar that we could because that was before the state shut down. That was back in September. So we went to multiple gay bars. We made connections. We hooked up with a lot of people. And we just like met all these people. And then we have he has an atlas that in each state that we went to, we on the state's page, we on a sticky note, we wrote down their name and their Instagram and their information. For if we ever go, let's say if I ever go to Savannah, Georgia, in a year, I can open up the atlas and there's Puleto that we met over there. Or let's say we go to Selma, North Carolina, we met this guy there. Or we went to D.C., Washington, D.C., we met this guy there. like this is their number, et cetera, et cetera. So we met a good amount of people. The first place that I went to the first place that I performed at when we went to the travels was actually Washington, D.C. One of my coworkers, she's a lesbian, and her aunt is a lesbian, and she said, my aunt is this party promoter. Like, hit her up. I'll tell her that you're a performer. She can get you into a show, or she can get you into a bar or something like that. She could figure out a job for you to work for the night. So we stayed in D.C. for 3 nights, and I worked at a gay strip club, and I was a drag queen there, and it was fucking crazy. It was probably one of the best nights I ever had in my life. It was like, you know, do you know, like, on when you watch on like Instagram videos or like Facebook videos, and they like literally make it rain on the stripper?
Yeah. Like,
that was me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, they're, like, all the way from Florida. She came all the way to see us, et cetera, et cetera. Like, all this hyped up nonsense to the crowd. And then I came out, and I remember this person threw a wad of cash at me, and it didn't break. It literally hit me in the face.
Oh, wow.
Got a little bump there.
Oh, wait, it left a bump? How much cash? What kind of cash were they throwing? Were they throwing coins?
They were literally throwing bundles. After the first performance, I easily made like $300.
Oh, wow.
And we did 2. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, I walked out with like $500, $600 that night, and I was like, I have never even made this much money in my life, like, doing drag. Like, aside from that, the highest I ever made was like $300. But like, I was like, I made $300 off one 3-minute long song. Like, this is crazy.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Yeah, it was like surreal. I felt like I was like living like my true stripper fantasy. Like, my mom would be so proud.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So let's go into further adventures after DC. What are we doing
after DC? We went to so something that me and my old partner used to love to do was we used to like to go out to the different Eagles all over the U.S. Like the one in Atlanta, the one in DC, the one in I think California. We went to the one. Then we went to the one in. I think the one in DC was really incredible. That was super fun. Then we traveled on bike and like Ubers to the one in Baltimore. So we get to this really sketchy place, and we're like looking for this eagle, and it says that it's open on their website. It says it's open on Google. It says that it's open on Instagram. And I guess the night before they shut down completely without telling anyone. So we're stranded in the middle of nowhere and waiting and looking for this bar that shut down the day before. And we had to take an Uber all the way back to, like, I think we were in Virginia or West Virginia, somewhere. We were in one of those states. We weren't even close to Baltimore. So that was pretty disappointing. After that, we hit west and we went to Kentucky. So we were in Kentucky for 3 months. We worked for Amazon. We worked the, like, PM shift, so we worked from 7 p.m. until like 5 a.m. It was ridiculous. I hated it, but we made so much money. That was the first time I got to experience, like, those of you that don't know, I'm from Florida, originally from Florida, born and raised South Florida, and I never experienced season change. So when I went up there, I like saw it turn to like from summer to fall, from fall to winter.
Oh wow!
Like in those, yeah, because like I guess. Up there they have like a weird, like, it goes from summer to winter real quick. So I got to experience like those seasons, and it was like so beautiful. I remember the first time I saw snow, I went to this I think we were at Home Depot. We went to go buy like a succulent plant, and I was like, what the fuck, like the snow looks so, I mean, I'm sorry, like it was raining, and then the rain looked weird, and I was like, this rain looks so odd. And then I'm like to my boyfriend, I'm like, what is this? He's like, it's snow. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, yeah, it's snow. I'm like, oh my god, it's just snow. Then it snowed for like 3 inches, and I got over it.
So I can basically tell you had never been out of South Florida until then, because the rest of the country actually has seasons.
Yeah. I've traveled, but I never traveled in the winter because I usually have the summers off. So I would just travel, like, let's say I go to like California, it's the same weather. I go to Chicago. It's the same weather as Florida, but I never like went somewhere during I guess what do you call it? Like I guess it's winter. It's season change. So we were living in this like pop-up camper. I remember it was small. I think it was maybe like 17 feet, 16 to 18 feet.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was small. And we didn't even think about the snow. So we were up there and we could only have one phone plugged in and we could have one and the heater on. That's it. Or else like the breakers would blow out. So we were probably in 7-degree weather. Oh, wow. And inside the camper it was probably 17-degree weather. 17 like degrees. So and I remember like yeah. So I remember like the frost would like build up by the door and the door would get stuck from it being frozen.
Oh, wow. So did you guys, now wait a minute, you said you also had, so you are in a van and you're hauling the camper. So did you guys utilize the van for living space as well, or?
Yes, that's where most of my clothes was and where most of like, I guess like all my makeup, like all the stuff that we had, all our tools, like all just miscellaneous stuff, like opened. When the camper was opened, we had to make sure that like everything that we put in there we could put inside the van, or else we would be screwed. Okay. So so halfway through our work, like our temporary work that we did, our van breaks down and we have no form of like driving anywhere, but thank God like we befriended a lady that was working the same shift as us, so she would take us to work every day because she worked the same hours as us. But also we got an opportunity to trade in our pop-up camper to an actual like sealed RV, because a couple in Florida was looking to trade their RV for our pop-up camper for free, and we did it.
Oh, wow. So how much more spacious was the RV?
God, we went from like having like, I guess, well, the 16 feet includes bed, includes everything, and only one of us could stand up really, or else we would be in the way. But with the other one, like, oh my God, it had like we couldn't even sleep together because it was like so frail. If we were both to lean on one side, the whole thing will completely like break.
Oh, good Lord. So if you guys wanted to have a little sexy time, that was not going to... Well,
I mean, we still did, but we had to do it. we had to move everything.
I have that type of brain where when people describe situations, I see it in my head, and the moment I said the word sexy time, I'm trying to picture you guys in the situation that you're talking about and trying to have sexy time, and it is hilarious in my head. I wish I could project it onto a screen because it is hilarious in my head, because I'm like, because you're like, well, we can't be like in the same, and I'm like, well, I'm with my man, and I'm feeling the oats happening. Where are we gonna do this?
I mean, we did it everywhere but the bed.
Well, I mean, when the weather's warmer, you have those opportunities in nature to do nature. And let me tell you, as one who's also traveled and been on the road before, there are plenty of places.
Oh,
there are plenty of places.
We always had the van, and the van had a bed in it. So and all the windows were tinted all black. So we found a way.
Yeah, rest stops and truckers. A lot of fun.
Oh, cruising. I did that when I went from Albuquerque to when I traveled from Florida to Albuquerque, and I took the major roads. I was like, I'm looking for some dick. Let me stop by.
I recall one time. Now, this was just a short trip to Austin, and I'm sure you have become familiar with how big Texas is. And how it seems like that you could be driving for like 2 weeks before you get out of Texas.
Yeah, right.
So just a quick trip to Austin, which is only about 2 hours from Houston. Stopped at a rest stop. My friend is sitting in the car. Well, he's not sitting in the car. He's actually talking on the phone outside or to his boss or something. I decided to go into the rest stop to take a quick pee and get some snacks. And, of course, standing right next to me is a gentleman who is cruising me pretty hard while we're at the urinal. Now, I'm weird. I'm one of those weirdos. When I go into the bathroom, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm not really trying to look. I don't find watching another man pee attractive. I don't know why. I don't find it attractive at all. I'm there to take care of business. I'm not there to look at your dick while, pee is coming out of it. So, yeah, it was a funny. He was cute. Don't get me wrong. He was cute. And if I wasn't with my friend, we would have had some fun in that rest stop. But I got to be. I don't want him coming looking for me. Joel, because he would. Joel, where you at? You've been in here for 20 minutes. Where you at?
Do you ever
I'm busy.
You ever notice how big rest stop bathrooms are?
Yes.
It's just like, y'all, like, this is what it's made for.
Exactly. Well,
where's the pull-out bed?
Well, they have cracked down a little harder in Texas because now the rest stop bathroom stalls are a little bit shorter. So you can't get away with some of the things that you used to get away with back in the past. See, I'm an older girl. We used to get away with some things back in the past that they have cut down, that people got wise about and cut back on. But, gays have always been innovative when it comes to cruising. Right? We're going to find a way to hook up.
Right, for real.
We are going to find, and trust me, truck technology, I mean, you can have a whole house in your truck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You can have a whole house in your truck. So truck technology, 18-wheelers, lots of fun.
They had that little cabin on top of, like, where they're at.
So they are lots of fun. So you're gonna have some good times. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some cruising is just like any other place. There's dangers.
Oh, girl. You're in danger, girl.
When your spidey sense goes off, girl, it's time to take off.
It's time to run, bitch.
It's time to run, bitch, because there have been some times that my spidey sense...
someone to fucking hold you down.
There's been some times that my spidey sense has gone off, and I went, oh, I know. I know. I'm not fixing to... No, you're not going to find me buried in somebody's yard. No, thank you.
For real, though.
I'll be in my car, thank you. No, I don't need directions or help. I'll be okay. Now about to push 911 on my little red button on my phone.
Right.
So those adventures on the road can be kind of fun, and I actually do like that. So I just thought it would be cute to talk about your adventures on the road. How many states are we talking about that we have been through so far?
Me? Mm-hmm. Let me see. Let me pull up a U.S. map.
Okay.
Because I went to the American public education system, and they taught us, but I don't remember.
Okay. Well, you can always Google it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. They showed us how to use Google, but not our brain.
The American public system doesn't work anymore. Everybody just Googles.
So I've been through Florida. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. Then I went to D.C. Then I went to Maryland. Then I went through West Virginia. And then where I'm currently in the story time, I am in Kentucky.
Okay.
So, so we went to Florida. We traded these people for the camper. And then our contract with Amazon finished. So that was around Christmas time. So we surprised our family for Christmas. Then we moved to Albuquerque. We made it we went through Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. And then we made it to New Mexico.
I can tell you right now, Alabama and Mississippi, the most boring ride on the planet. I swear to God. If there are two states that are so boring to drive through, it's Alabama and Mississippi. You just want to hurry up and get through there. And amazingly, not because they're so small, you do. But, when you leave Florida or Georgia, Florida and Georgia, great time. Great time. But as soon as you hit Mississippi, Wait, Mississippi first, then Alabama? Yeah, Mississippi first.
Alabama.
Oh, is it Alabama first, then Mississippi?
Well, I mean, if you're going from Texas,
if you're coming from Florida,
it's Alabama, then Mississippi.
Okay, so Alabama, Mississippi, and then Louisiana. So
yes,
so Alabama, Mississippi, short drives, nothing to stop for unless you're going along the coast. Any further north, nothing to write home about. Just keep right on driving. Louisiana, well, unless you're going through New Orleans. Now, if you're taking I-10, you're probably going through New Orleans. So, unless you're going through New Orleans,
I think we purposely went through New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. So
we checked that out. We went through Bourbon Street, and that was fun. Mm-hmm. But I will say that out of all the states that I've ever lived in or traveled through, Louisiana is on top for gunshots at night.
Oh yeah. We stayed in we stayed in a really bad dump about I think 5 miles outside of New Orleans, and it went on all night long. I mean, all night long. We were scared out of our minds. It's like four of us little gays in a hotel room going, why can't we just drive right now? Can we just drive right now?
Right.
Girl, it's 2:00 in the morning. We are a little bit drunk. No, we can drive right now. I don't want to be here anymore.
And the crazy thing is, like, some bars in Louisiana don't even fucking close.
Yeah, ever. I know. Louisiana, gambling and drinking you can drink at the local 7-Eleven or whatever they have. You can and gamble there. You can get your drinks to go. It's all kinds of craziness. 24 hours a day. So,
24-hour madness.
Yes, I know. Alcohol and okay, I don't mean no harm to the people of Louisiana, but y'all all live in Houston anyway, so it doesn't matter. Not the brightest bulbs on the planet.
Oh no.
And I don't mean to make fun of Florida. Y'all do end up in the news a lot.
Oh no, that's well, yeah, I guess that is South Florida.
Yeah. That y'all do end up in the. Now, I'm not talking about the COVID thing because I think that's mostly tourists coming down and acting a fool.
No, it's Floridians for being dumbasses. Yeah, it really is. I wouldn't even fucking blame
Well, I was trying to be nice because I know Florida. Florida. Every time I open up my online news, something from Florida happened, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
I mean, it's true. I will say that. Personally, I've never experienced anything crazy other than like Karens attacking me at like local stores like Publix, which is like a Kroger down there. But I will say that Albuquerque is fucking batshit crazy.
Oh wow,
like, Albuquerque. Yeah, have you been to Albuquerque?
I've never been to that side of the country before. I spent a lot of time on the East Coast. I am going to apologize for those living in Albuquerque. If you have anyone that listens from Albuquerque, sorry, but this is a true tea. Albuquerque is one of the most beautiful places I've ever lived in. I will say that, yeah. There's no mosquitoes. There's no humidity. There's no weird bugs. But the homeless population there is fucking crazy. Like crazy, like crazy. Okay. Like, I will say that there are beautiful parts in Albuquerque that are just like, it's made for like bougie people that have money and stuff. But in every corner, you'll see homeless people. Like every corner, even if it's a nice area, even if it's a well-developed area, there's homeless people everywhere. I will say that it kind of reminds me of a post-apocalyptic like war zone. Oh my
because,
God.
Because it's like because Albuquerque is so big and I feel like they don't have that many people there that it's kind of empty. But then you'll see like a group of homeless people like just like high on drugs and they're all like walking around like zombies. And it is like that. And it's scary because a lot of the neighborhoods, a lot of places have like these giant gates up, so the homeless people don't jump over it.
Oh wow!
I lived in a campground, and we had like 3 layers of fencing because homeless people would like jump over it, dig holes underneath it, or break through it to try to break into campers.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and every week I would at least hear about someone that I knew, whether if it was a coworker, a friend, someone on Facebook saying that their car got broken into.
Oh wow! So Scott, we're going to take a quick break so everybody can gather their resources because I have more questions because we need to go from. And if you don't mind talking about it, if you do, we can skip over it. So we need to talk about where you go from being a double to a single on the road. So if you don't mind talking about that.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
So, because I don't know how long it's been since that happened. So I think I'd like to talk about that a little bit. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to mark this right here. And we will be back in a few minutes. And we're back. We're back into the second part of the show. We're going to go from the adventures of being on the road as a couple to being on the road single, which, like I said, for Scott might be a little bit of a touchy subject, but I'm curious to how that came to pass. So, Scott, if you want to go in and let us know what happened. Scott's back. Scott's back.
So what happened was the COVID happened, actually. I really blame it on the COVID, but, things have to happen for a certain reason. So during the COVID, my partner got laid off, and I was the only one working. And during that time, a friend of ours that we befriended that worked, he also got laid off as well. And I told my partner, I'm like, hey, you can go hang out with him or whatever. And I would be the one working. I would be the one that paid for everything. And then around the end of April, I kind of get suspicious of how he's acting. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just being ultra protective. I'm like, maybe it's something different because my partner has never had a friend.
So where are we in April at this point? What state or place?
We're in Albuquerque.
Okay.
We were supposed to leave Albuquerque in April, but because of the COVID, my partner is trans and he had one of his bottom surgeries. But it got postponed, so we were stuck in Albuquerque, and our plans were literally in the air because we did not know what we were going to do anymore. We kind of had a plan that maybe in October we were going to leave, or maybe we were going to stay in Albuquerque for another year, which I literally hated Albuquerque. It was no place of growth. I work in the restaurant industry, and the restaurants were really bad there. So I was just used to getting paid $5 an hour, and whatever I would make, an extra $300 a week, and that's really bad because I would work full time.
Oh wow!
Anyways, it was bad. So long story short, me and my partner took a little break, and he said that we needed some space, so he stayed over this guy's house. And I am just trying to keep my cool. I'm like, maybe we need space, or maybe this is gonna be the end of our relationship, whatever. So we get back and we're sleeping together, and he works overnight, and he comes back that morning because he worked overnight, and I am about to get ready for work, and he gets a message on his phone, and it said, I had fun with you last night. And in my head, I'm like, wasn't this man supposed to be working last night? Or am I just getting played? So I didn't even read the message. I'm just whatever. I think I'm just being a little too, I guess, I didn't want to go through his stuff. That's not me. That's not something that I do. I trust this guy.
Okay.
So it bothered me. I went 2 more hours, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go through his phone. So I saw that him and this man, I don't even want to call him a man, him and this child were basically building a relationship together, and saying, oh my God, I think I'm starting to fall in love with you. Babe, when are you going to be leaving Scott? All this stuff. And I'm over here, I'm still having sex with this guy, my ex, and he's having sex with another guy. And I'm just super confused. So I wake him up and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Then he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, what is this on your fucking phone? What is this going on with this other guy? And he's just like, I don't know, I'm sorry. And I was like, what? I'm like, that's all you have to say? And I just told him, I'm like, you're a fucking little kid. I'm like, fucking, we were planning on getting married. We were planning on having our life together. And like, this is not the thing that I like, you know, this is not the tea. This is not something that I wanted for us to have. And I'm like, I was already like, I've never, like, you know, there's never something because he's never been that type of guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I told him, I gave him 3 different things to do that day. I was like, 1, get off my fucking phone plan. And 2, figure out what needs to get done to the car. And I think 3 was like, I think I asked him to pay something off that he owed me. And so I didn't see him for about a month. I worked. I still lived in the camper. He stayed at this guy's house this whole time, which is fucking terrible. I deleted him off my social media and everything and just had his phone number. And I was just doing my own thing. And then the van that we had broke down. Well, I paid $800 to get it fixed. There was nothing wrong with the van before. And nothing really wrong with the van. It just kind of reversed weird. And he was super convinced that we needed to get work to it done. And I said, no, there doesn't need to get work done. So we get the transmission fixed. I paid like fucking $1,000, so much money to get it fixed because we bought the transmission off a different person. Then we took it somewhere else to get it fixed, and then the transmission didn't even end up working on the van, and it made the van it made actually the van break. So I'm stuck there with literally I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing anymore because I already quit my job. It's been a week since I quit my job. I don't really have anywhere else to go. So I called my mom and I'm like, hey, like, this is I actually called my mom and my sister and I was like, this is my situation. The only option that I have here is that I can pay a car off or I can pay a portion of a car off. I just need to have one of you co-sign. So they're like, can we think about it for a little bit and we'll get back to you? So my mom calls me back and she's like, our friend has a car that she's not using anymore. And she said, you can pay her back whenever you're settled. So just come down here, take the car, get it fixed, and leave. So actually, I was supposed to go to Florida in March, but the COVID happened. So I had a free airline ticket. I took the airline ticket, took my fucking ass to Florida, got the car fixed, stayed there for a week, enjoyed the beach because I missed the beach so much.
I can imagine.
And I was living in the desert. And the closest thing I had to a beach was the Rio Rancho or the Rio Grande. And if you ever seen that, that shit is disgusting. It's like mucky water. And there was a thing called the Tingley Beach, which was just a swamp water. So I stayed my ass in Florida for a week. And then I had about 2 weeks to go from Florida to Albuquerque, then from Albuquerque to Houston. So I took my time. I drove from Florida to Albuquerque. I stopped at a few places, sucked a bunch of like dick.
Well, I have a couple of questions because I have so many questions.
Go right ahead.
I'll
stop.
What did we do when we broke up? We have an RV. We have a van. We have an RV and a van, or we have an RV and a van. We have an RV and a van.
We have now, like a 50-inch TV. We have a Nintendo Switch and a mini fridge.
Is the RV like hooked up to the van, or is the RV a separate driving vehicle?
The RV is not a separate driving. It's like a travel trailer.
Okay, so it's a travel trailer. Okay.
Yeah, it's a travel trailer that we haul behind us, and it's a pretty big one.
So, how did we work out? Was he staying in Albuquerque for good, and you were taking everything and leaving, or?
That was my original plan. I was going to take everything that I bought with my money, which was everything in there, even the fucking camper, but I couldn't take that because it was under his name. Was that, and I had everything else inside. Like I had a TV, a mini fridge, a bunch of food, a bunch of like spices and everything. So I kept the car because the car was under my name and I paid for the insurance and everything. So he kept the RV because it was under his name.
Okay.
So I told him that he can have the van if he like pays me $1,000 because that's how much it costs for me to waste in fixing it.
But you have all your drag stuff, all your tools, all the in the van.
Yes.
So
So I went to Florida and I picked up this car. Then I went to Albuquerque and he took the car somewhere. So I actually didn't get a lot of my stuff back. I just got a good portion of it, and I feel like he threw away a lot of my other things because I am, to this day, missing a bunch of shirts and a couple of shoes. But at the same time, it's just like, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, what am I going to cry? Like, why am I crying? Like, I can buy my soft stuff.
Yeah, you can always replace that. That's not a big issue.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all materialistic stuff. As long as I'm just happy to have my cat with me, and I'm happy that I have my drag. And literally that's it. Everything else could have gone to like trash.
So we make it to Houston, and we no longer have the RV. The van.
I literally lost everything. So I told myself my goal, for me to be like, like happy in the long run is I want to buy myself, like, did you ever watch AJ and the Queen?
Yes, I did.
That's the kind of camper that I want.
And I think
and you can haul a car behind that. And like, because the car that I have is like a Ford Explorer now, and she's real cute.
That does sound really cute. So you're like,
I basically came here with nothing but except for everything that fit in my car.
Which sounds like a story if you were going to Los Angeles or New York, not Houston. I'm
Houston's
starting.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm originally from Washington D.C., but I've lived in Houston pretty much most of my life, and I love it here. And I've traveled a lot, but Houston is always home. And I know a lot of people knock the city, but the people here are friendly.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I love it here.
I know the people are friendly. It can get a little hot. It can get a little humid. I get it. It actually stayed cooler in Houston until about mid-July. So it's a little hot now, but for the most part, it was a little cool for a little while. So we got to enjoy that a little bit. And I got to, during the whole COVID scene, I got to get out of the house and, enjoy the park system and all this other stuff, which Herman Park, the trails are amazing. Oh my God. My cousin, Herman Park, near the medical center.
Okay, I have to check that out.
Yeah. The trails back there are amazing. Now you'll see the front part of the park, but if you go to the back part of the park, that's where you find like some amazing trails back there. And me and my cousin go out there, we'd go hiking and all this stuff through the trails, under bridges and through the woods, and all this other stuff sounds like something out of a Dickens Grimm's tale, over the river and through the woods. So yeah, we had, and Memorial Park just as well. So many wonderful.
Memorial Park is nice.
Yeah, Memorial Park is very nice. A lot of trails, a lot of options in Memorial Park, and the park is slowly starting to. Now during COVID, most of the park was closed down. You couldn't use some of the facilities there, but I think some of the facilities have slowly opened back up.
I just when I go somewhere, I don't like to be in huge places, crowded places. So like I've tried jogging. You know how like there's people jogging on the outskirts of the memorial. Yeah, I'm like, I can't do that. There's so many people.
Yeah, there's so many people. But if you go
just like
inside of the park, it gets a little thinned out. And I like to go. The best times to go to me are like when everybody's at work, between noon and 3. When everybody's at work and there's very few people on the trails. So it's when COVID, when everybody was locked down, everybody was out there. I mean, everybody. Herman Park was the same thing. Everybody was out there, and it was good to see people out and about. Just walking and riding their bikes, that kind of thing. And I live in Neartown, which is near Montrose and Westview and all that other stuff. So I get to walk across the bridges, walk through the neighborhoods, and look at the nice homes with a lot of tree-lined streets. The neighbors are very friendly. No Karen has called the police on me yet.
Girl, those Karens.
I know those Karens. You gotta walk. I've seen a few of the Karens in their yards watering the garden, and they would wave, and I would wave back. So, no Karens I haven't. No Karens have called the police going, there's a black man walking down the street. So, yeah.
Don't even jinx yourself.
No, I have lived in this neighborhood for 20 years. I've had very few instances of
racism.
Yeah, very few. I'm black. I'm not going to say it hasn't happened. And some of it can be small microaggressions, like people being surprised. You know, I'm a huge nerd. So when people are surprised that, you know, I like Doctor... Oh, I didn't know black people like Doctor Who. I'm sorry. What?
I'm sorry.
There are black people.
It was only made for white people.
There are black people on Doctor Who. Why would you even say that? That's weird. Why do people think that we're all into basketball or what have you? There are 35 million of us. We all have different interests.
It should have been like, since they canceled basketball, that's the only thing I have to watch.
Yeah, exactly. When people ask me sports questions and are surprised that I don't know anything about sports, and I'm like, first of all, don't go down that gay road just because I know a lot of my gay friends like sports. You know, I know a lot about sports because I use it to pick up men.
I know a lot about water sports.
Girl, we all gay. Every gay man. That's just something we grew up knowing.
Right. Like, it's like part of whenever God is making you, instead of like sports, he grabbed water sports and like some sort of intelligence on that.
I know. Well, you know, in my earlier years of being out, now my friends had been out since they were 16, 17 years old. They were already hitting the bars and all this other stuff. Back in the day when we could get away with that, y'all can't get away with that anymore. But back in the day you can
go to the right bar.
If you go to the right,
Houston, actually,
no, not in Houston.
Not in Houston.
No,
maybe ripcords, like in the patio when it's really busy.
You might be, yeah. But
aside from that, it's very hard.
Yeah, it's very hard.
In DC, I fully almost fisted someone, and it was so hot.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, they were going to JRs and all that other stuff when they were 16, 17 years old and getting into the bars. So they had a little bit more experience when it came to certain aspects of the gay culture. Whereas I didn't come out until I was 24. And first of all, you know, the first thing I went out and bought, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I thought it was a cute bracelet. I went out and bought a cock ring. And I wore it as a bracelet because I thought it was just the cutest bracelet. I really did. And because I wanted to get, I came out. I felt good. I came out. I felt good. I told my parents on the phone.
Like, look at me, I'm gay.
And at the
this is my gay bracelet.
And I went out and bought all the gay colors, the chains, and I bought the little cock ring and I wore it to work. And my friends are like, girl, why are you wearing that on your wrist? Girl, because it's the cutest bracelet. I saw that ripcord, and I said, I need to have that bracelet. And the guy who was standing there, now at the time, I think they do it at Eagle now, but at the time, ripcord had the leather section where you can buy leather and all the goods.
They still have it.
I haven't been to the bars in a while. You know, you get to a certain age where you're like, I've already seen all these queens, so no.
Oh, no, not me, bitch. I'm fresh meat.
Yeah, you're fresh meat. But, you know, Houston and the gay community is, I'm not going to say it's small, but we kind of all do know each other.
Girl, there's only got one gay area.
I know, girl. So as soon as they see fresh meat, girl, they are on you like white on rice.
Literally
like white on rice. But for the rest of us, we all know each other.
When I first moved here, the first day I arrived here on a Monday morning, and literally at 6 a.m, then I fell asleep. Then I woke up at 11 a.m, and I told my roommate, I was like, I'm gonna get a job today. Then he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna get a job. Like, watch me. So I went to the Eagle and I applied, and I was like, I went to the bartender. I was like, how do I get a job here? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, how do I get a job as a bartender? I have experience. I've traveled to the U.S. Like, how do I get a job here? And he's like, you have to fill out an application. It's a really long process. I don't think we're hiring. So I was like, okay, filled out the application, turned it in, had a drink. literally 20 minutes later, the guy calls me, had an interview, and I walked out with a job. I was like to the guy, the bartender, see you tomorrow.
Oh, wow. That's I hate you, bitch. You know how many times I tried to get a job at JR's as a bartender back in the day. Now this is back in the day, and I'm not gonna say nothing bad about JR's, but that was back in the day, in the 90s.
Back in the day.
Okay, it was a little hard for a person with my skin tone to get behind the bar, unless you were a beautiful, small, little petite black woman that had worked there for like 30 years. But and she was.
They didn't want to hire.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to hire someone beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't ready for all this flavor, baby.
They weren't ready for all the flavors. All the flavors at the time used to hang out in their own little section at JR's.
I could only imagine unseasoned chicken, unseasoned baked chicken.
I know, but now everybody's just like,
now
bitch, I don't.
It's pretty.
Yeah, everybody's like, bitch, I don't care.
Yeah, for real. Like, you work good? Can you close? Can you work 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row?
And I don't want to offend. Well, you know what? I'm going to offend anybody. I'm going to offend somebody anyway. You know, I was talking to one of the kids at work, and he's just a kid. He's one of the little hosts. He's just a little child, 17.
Yeah.
And he has a little girlfriend. I thought that was so cute. And we were talking about something, and I said, well, you. So I don't know what your deal is. You have a little boyfriend, little girlfriend. He goes, well, I have a girlfriend, and I'm like, well, you're like Gen Z. Y'all have so many different things going on right now. Yeah. Back in my day, we had 3. It was gay, bi, and lesbian. That was it. And of course, our trans sisters. We know, love our trans sisters. And I don't mean to leave anybody out.
Trans kids.
Mm-hmm. But, back in the day, we only had 4. Now there's like 30, 50 designations of what you could possibly. I'm like, you kids have so much stuff going on. Y'all have too many labels. I thought we were getting past the label thing. Y'all have way too many labels.
I will say
I'm gay, but I'm genderqueer, and I'm also saposexual, and I'm like, oh my God, girl.
That's me though. I tell people I'm here for a good time, not a long time, literally. And I guess that classifies me as pansexual because I'm attracted to anyone. Like, I can hook up with like someone's mom, or hook up with like someone's like of age kid. Well, I don't care as long as there's a nice connection.
Well, I am pretty much 100% gay, but then I sat down and thought, well, I'm also kind of a saposexual too, because I find intelligence Absolutely. To be like super sexy. I would Dr. Fauci, you need to call me on the phone, because I would date you, and I know you're 70-something years old, but you run 6 miles a day and you are in perfect health. Boy, yes, you need to come to my house.
You can get it, baby.
You can get this.
Like, you can, what is it? You can bust these cheeks, baby.
Yeah, you can bust these cheeks. You can get a little.
That's the new saying. That's the new saying. I'm letting you know now. That's going to blow up in the next few months.
Oh, is that going to blow up in the next few months? Okay.
I heard it online, and then I started seeing people hashtag it. I'm like, oh, bitch.
Girl, you're going to be a regular on this show. You know that, right? I can't wait to get you.
I'm over here drinking a $4 bottle of wine, feeling my best boozy fantasy.
You feeling your best life right now. As soon as I get all this COVID stuff out of the way, girl, I'm going to have you in the studio. I'm going to have you in the studio as soon as all this COVID stuff, all my COVID stuff calms down. Because for real,
I'll go in there with an oxygen tank. Because
for real, let me tell y'all what my day was for going to go get a COVID test, because it was a day. I mean, it was a day.
I'm excited to hear this, because you got the COVID test. I got the one where they fucking touch your brain. I
haven't even gotten that test. Here's what happened.
I have a video, and I'm fully crying in the video because I fucking hurt like a bitch.
I'm already terrified. So so after spending a few hours online trying to find a place, now I called Legacy Clinic first, But Legacy said, well, you have a couple of the symptoms, so you need to go to an emergency room. And I'm like, but they're not that, but they're mild. I don't really think I need to go to, I don't want to waste going to a major hospital for super mild symptoms. And he goes, well, you still need to go to the emergency room. And then once you go to the emergency room, you can come here if you need to get any other services done. And I'm like, okay, because I thought about it, because if I do have a bacterial infection like I did the last time, then I might have to go to Legacy Clinic anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to get antibiotics and stuff. So I'm like, okay, so I'm searching around and I find the emergency room and they do 10-minute testing where they test you and then in 10 minutes you get the results back. But the line is ridiculous. Now, when I get there, she's like, oh, well, you just get in your car and you wait. And I'm like, I don't have a car. So what am I supposed to do? And she's like, well, okay, so this is what happens. If you want to see the doctor in person, so I'm going to have to fill out your information. Then you're going to have to go home. And then you're going to have to wait for us to call. And that could be any time between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. And I'm like, what?
Like, can I get that? Can I get the day shift, though?
I'm like, so you want me to come in? So if y'all call me at 2:00 in the morning, you expect me to come up? How do you expect me to come up here? Well, you can just take an Uber at 2:00. Well, you can take an Uber at 2:00 in the morning. By the way, I've done it.
But still,
I don't want, and I don't want a scared Uber taking me to a clinic.
Doctor, you're fucking right.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
So I'd be like, can you just drop me off at the Burger King down the street?
Right.
Or something like
in the morning.
And I'll walk the rest of the way. But I don't want to like scare the Uber
driver. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
So I'm like,
true.
because I was thinking about that today when I was taking an Uber, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell him where I'm going. He will put me out of the car in a heartbeat.
For real.
Luckily, he didn't speak much English, so there was not much conversation. But you get some of those drivers that are super chatty. I mean, they just chat, and I'm like, girl, it's early in the morning.
Right.
I just want to play some games on my phone and have some quiet time before I have to deal with chatty customers at work. So can we please not, I'll play along. If I'm in a really good mood, I don't mind, but that's when I'm coming home from work. When I'm going to work and it's, early in the morning for me is like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Like it's sleepy time.
Yeah. I'm like, I have not had my fruit smoothie yet. I have not.
Like, man, I'm mentally preparing myself for a whole lot of talking.
I'm not ready for all this. Where you get all this energy to be talking like this? So I'm not ready for all of that stuff. So I had to go down there, fill out some paperwork. She's like, do you have insurance? And I'm like, well, I had to call the insurance company and they said, well, your insurance lapsed. I'm like, well, that's not a surprise because my company is barely holding on. So they probably dropped the insurance for a little while. So it's $150. I have the money. I'm like, I can afford it. So like she said, you just need to go home and we'll call you when we're ready. And I'm like, I was already exhausted. I'd already been out in the heat. My lungs felt pretty good today. So I didn't feel like I short of breath or anything. Cause I had to walk a few blocks because I decided to take the bus back. And, that actually took only 10 minutes from, the clinic to my house. So, I walked the 3 blocks and I didn't feel out of breath or anything. I just feel congested, kind of like, there's a lot of mucus going on, but for the most part, my chest is not wheezing and making all kinds of weird noises. I make myself laugh at night sometimes because I will wake up in the middle of the night going, I wonder what sounds. I wish I could record the sounds that my chest are making right now because there are some weird ass. There are some weird ass sounds.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There are some weird ass sounds. So we have to wait until tomorrow morning to go get a thing stuck up my nose. Now you got me scared, girl, because you just literally said all up in the brain, and I'm like, I've heard people.
Oh my! It's not all up in the brain. I was like,
I know, but it's all up in the nasal cavity, and I'm like, oh God. I'm trying to keep things out of my nose, and now they trying to put stuff in it, which is why I didn't do cocaine back in the day, because I was trying to keep stuff. My allergies were so bad, I was trying to keep stuff out of my nose. I'm not trying to put stuff back in it. So, yeah, that's what's going on. So we're getting close to the end of the midpoint, and I think in the last part of the show, we need to get into your drag persona. We need to talk about ShottGunz, because I have seen the incredible pictures on Instagram, and your drag is through the roof. It is through the roof. I know that we're only probably going to talk about it for 30 minutes, but I'm doing it because I want to have you back on the show to talk about it more. So it's my way of making sure that I kind of put some cheese. I put the cheese on the trap. I'm gonna trap you, girl.
I think the three words that I can describe my drag are stripper, bougie, and demon.
Okay. I know like I said, I'm looking at your drag photos and I'm like, this bitch is on the road and she is doing all this elaborate shit. This shit is fantastic. How does she have the time to do all this stuff in a camper? Good Lord.
I don't even know how I did it. I don't even know how you did it
either. I'm like, some of that
like,
shit was like, okay, I hope I'm not offending you by saying this, but some of it is like, drag race kind of shit. You got some potential in the future.
I will say that maybe Drag Race, no, because RuPaul does not accept bearded queens.
I know.
Maybe there's a show called Dragula.
Yes, I know Dragula. I have watched Dragula. It's a little more intense.
That I have my eyes on.
It's a little more intense than I would normally like, but these queens, these are some makeup artists. These bitches.
Oh, and these
Dragula? Bitches
Dragula?
are. Yes, I have watched Dragula. I watched season 1. And like I said, it was a little more intense than Drag Race.
Have you seen the other seasons?
No, I haven't seen the other seasons yet.
Okay. They're on season 3, and season 3 is their best season. Season 1 was a pilot.
Think that I need to check Netflix because I think they only had season 1. So I need to check Netflix and see if maybe they have season 2. But I watched the entirety of season 1, and I was amazed at the artistry. The artistry is amazing. Who are you rooting for? Oh,
and can I tell you, season 1 was only LA Queens, downtown LA Queens. That's it. And
it was a lot of
season.
I thought there was one or two queens from. I thought there was one queen from the South. Wasn't there one queen from the South on season 1?
I don't think so. I think season 1 was all like girls that performed at Precinct or Redline.
Okay, because I know that the Boulay brothers, they do all kinds of shows and all this other stuff.
Party everywhere.
Yeah, they do all
their parties.
Yeah, their parties are supposed to be off the chain.
Their parties don't even give the show justice.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to the first time I went to DragCon in California. I went to, I guess they were filming like season 1 of Dragula, and all the queens were there, and I met them, and I just took pictures because they were sickening. And then like a few months later, they released a promo, and I was like, "Oh shit, I met all these queens already."
Oh girl! So well, let's talk about that in the last part of the show because I want to get into your drag and your drag aesthetic. And like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about Dragula and RuPaul's Drag Race and all that other stuff. But I don't want it to be the focus because the focus is really more on you. But I really want to get your opinions on how drag has changed. And you being you're 26. If I'm
26, yes.
26. So you're a young queen, and I just want to hear your experiences as a young drag queen out there in the world, just trying to do her thing as ShottGunz.
So I started drag in I think 2013 or 14.
Let me take a break. We're gonna take a little bit of a break.
Yeah,
just a little bit of a break, and then we'll get straight into it. So let me press pause on this, and for the rest of the audience, we will be back in just a minute. Okay, so we're back. We're gonna get into ShottGunz, and I want to know first and foremost before we get really into it, where, when did you decide? At what point did you decide that drag was going to be your thing?
Well, this monstrosity manifested in 2014, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, I did drag through, I guess, online. I would take pictures of me getting ready to drag.
Mm-hmm. At what age did you start?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think
you're 26.
Maybe,
you're 26, and you've been doing drag for how many years now?
I've been doing drag, I guess since I was like 20, maybe 19, 20.
Oh, so about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years. But...
So 19-year-old you, well, let's say 18-year-old you said...
I just got out of high school.
You just got out of high school.
I was working at Starbucks, and I remember I went. Oh my god! In the mall that I used to live at. I used to live by Palm Beach Gardens, which is like West Palm Beach. And I went by the Mac counter because not the counter, but they had a full store, and I saw these beautiful women like painted, and I saw this man working, and he had a full beat face, and I was like, "Bitch, this is everything. Like, I want to work there." So I would go in there, and I remember I was like, "Oh, I'm here to buy my mom a lipstick for her birthday." And they're like, okay, what do you want to get her? And I was like, I don't know, like something red and bright. And then they're like, okay. Then I'm like, I want to buy her a shadow too, like an eyeshadow. Because they have like the little palettes there. And I befriended this woman there. I don't even know her name. I honestly don't. But
you
she was
be
like...
ashamed of yourself. But go ahead with your story. I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, I don't know her name. She was an older Asian woman, but she like she didn't have an accent or anything, and she worked at the Gardens Mac. If anyone listens or knows her, she's still alive. She was an older woman, and she would help me pick all my stuff. I would always go because she would be there, and she was like super not judgmental. And one day I told her, I was like, hey, like I wanna start wearing makeup, but I don't want anyone to know. And she's like, you can buy this, but don't put any powder on it. And it was a concealer. And I remember the first time I put it on, I put so much on my face, and it was all like it matched and everything. And I went to work. This is me working at Starbucks, and this customer comes up to me, and she's like, what have you done with your skin? It's so beautiful. It's so, it looks so nice. And she's like, what did you do? I'm like, I changed my skin routine. And I was wearing makeup. So I started experimenting with makeup after that. I was like, what brushes should I buy? Where should I buy it? I remember she was so genuine that she told me, do not buy our brushes and our things from here. Like, I will recommend other places for you to buy things because you're going to spend a good amount of money if you're buying from MAC. So she would basically teach me, then she would give me the little charts, what they would use, and I would copy my makeup, et cetera, et cetera. I would do my makeup. And I started going to college, which was across the street from the mall that I used to work at. So I took art. Like, I was an art major. I wanted to become an art professor. I wanted to teach people how to do any sort of art, like, out there. And that's what one of my professors was doing. And I told him, I was like, hey, like, I want to do what you're doing. What classes should I take? And he recommended all these classes, and I took them. And I remember... after my first semester there, I befriended my professor, and we both we worked together in this project that he had, and I did drag, full drag, and I did my makeup, I did the hips, I did the looks on like 6 different people, and it was a runway. It was fucking amazing. It was sickening. And then we had fun, whatever. Then I met a drag queen when I was sitting at a Denny's at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like to her, I was like, 20-year-old me, and I was like, hi, who are you? I was like, who are you? Like, I love your makeup. Like, you guys look so good. Where are you coming from? And then we work at the bar called the Roosters, which is the oldest gay bar in South Florida. It's 35 years old. And they're like, you can come with us. You can paint. I befriended them. I started doing drag with them. I started doing shows. Then I went to California. And I was going to this bar regularly, I went to California. I met all the girls from Drag Race. Took pictures with. It was Courtney Act season, so Alaska, Courtney Act, like all those. I met all those queens because that was before DragCon was big. You know what DragCon is?
Yes, I know what DragCon. Oh,
yeah,
girl.
It was before.
I'm not gonna say I'm a drag aficionado. I'm gonna say I'm a drag nerd. A drag aficionado. That's another level of I am a drag nerd. I know enough, but I'm not.
I was there for their second year, and can I tell you that I met all these queens only waiting in line for 5 minutes.
Oh wow!
And that was before they charged people. Because now they charge people like $15 to meet them. I'm like, no, baby. Like I met all these queens. I think I met Alyssa Edwards. I met Laganja. I met. Do you know who Big Dipper is?
Yes,
I met
do.
Big Dipper. Fucking love Big Dipper. I met all these queens and stuff through there. And I came back to Florida, and all these people from Florida were telling me like, oh my god, like you were hanging out with like top notch queens and stuff, and I was part of a show up there too. And the bar manager from this little gay bar that I used to go to told me, he's like, hey, like I have an opportunity for you. I'm looking for a young crowd to come to the bar, but we haven't had any luck. We've had multiple people try to do it, and nobody has been successful. He's like, I'm going to give you 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, if you manage to bring the bar like price, like sales up, then you're gonna have a contract here. So the first night, I brought in one of my friends from South Florida. Her name is Rubber Child, and literally they said that they haven't had a night like that has been, because she was a local celebrity, but she was also like an international celebrity. And she brought so many queens in our bar. We've never had a wait at the bar. There was a wait to get in.
Oh wow!
Because we were at maximum capacity. That was the first week, and he's like, I just want to let you know that you broke records for Friday in the first time in 5 years. And I was like, you're welcome. So then the second week, I brought another entertainer, and again, we had a wait. Not as big as a wait as the first week. And he's like, okay, you broke numbers again. So he was like, okay. He's like, so I have a proposition for you. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're going to work here every Friday night until like whatever happens, until we depart or until whatever. So I started working at this bar for, I think, 3 years, and I won awards from South Florida Gay News as best theme night for 2 years in a row. I was in the running for best drag queen, and I created a whole new generation of drag in South Florida. I invented a young queer scene that was super accepting.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I was like up there because there was another drag queen named Melissa St. John. She's a very well-known South Florida drag queen, and I was up there with her. I remember I got paid to be at parties. I got paid to do weddings. I got paid to do shows. I got paid to do everything. And I was just like, pay my booking fee and I'll be there. And people did. And for 2 years, I did not have a job. For 2 years, I was doing drag by myself, just paying my rent off, paying my everything that I had off without worrying about anything else.
So let me ask you a question. How would you describe to the rest of us? How do you describe South Florida drag? What makes South Florida drag maybe different from maybe New York drag or Houston drag?
I will say
California drag.
South Florida drag before me was very pageanty. It was very old school.
Now I've known for years that Florida was very big. It's a very big pageants are the thing in Florida. Pageants in Florida and Texas, it's just one of the biggest things, and mostly in those two states, it's really about the pageant scene.
It is about the pageant scene. It's also about the last name. Like I tell people, and I will always tell people, if I accepted all these last names, my name would be Charlotte Shotgun Deluxe, St. John, Montana, Davenport, Dupree. Bitch, I can name 10 names because all these people took me under their wing. But I'm always like, Charlotte Shotgun is the label. ShottGunz is the LLC.
Because
but everything.
You sound like a drag mother. You sound like a young drag mother from Florida. I think that's amazing.
I've had a house. I've had a house.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I departed from the house because they were super young and super toxic.
Mm-hmm.
I will call names out. It was called the House of Ungodly because I accepted young queens that were super alternative and did not know how to fucking do drag, but I knew they had a potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I took them under my wing, and we're part of the House of Ungodly. We did shows all over the South Florida with my house. We had group numbers, individual numbers. We had nights that we did together. At one point, I was working Friday nights, Saturday nights, Sunday nights in Miami. Then back in West Palm Monday nights, have off Tuesday nights, and then on Thursday nights, I would do this other show at this place called Propaganda every week. So my time was full. I was literally living my full fantasy as Charlotte, which is, I guess, my alter ego fantasy bougie bitch.
So,
and I was just like, I was part of a house. I was running a house. I was taking care of kids. I was cooking for all these kids. I was making my own outfits. I was planning for the next party. I'm like, hey, let's have an Egyptian theme. Let's have a hula theme. Let's go all out. It's one of my kids' birthdays. We're having a fucking Nicki Minaj party. Only Nicki Minaj songs are allowed tonight.
Oh wow.
And I was on top of my world. I was doing everything. I did come in. I did kind of leave on bad blood with the bar manager because he wanted me to do all this stuff for free, and I was just like, pay me, dude. Like, I could go work and make like 150, or I can do this shit for free and not get paid. And I was like, I'm not doing this for free. If you want me to do it, pay me.
I know. I don't understand what it is with creative. Why people always take advantage of creative people. Pay them. That seems like to be a theme in the creative world, where it's like, let's just do this for me for free and I'll get you the exposure, but I'm not going to pay you. And it's like,
and it's a thing. It is a thing.
But I've already done all the stuff for you. I brought in the crowds. I've done all this stuff. You're going to pay me.
You told me to think for free. Yeah. And
you're going to pay me.
It's not like you don't have the money. I know that you have I know that you're in charge of the checking books. I know that you're in charge of this. I'm like, I'm not asking you for $100, baby. I'm just asking you for $50. I'm just asking you to pay for my bar tab. Like, literally, that's all I'm asking for you. Like, I don't think I'm asking for a lot. I'm like, you want me to travel to Miami for 6 hours, do an interview, have some cocktails, have some dinner, meet some people, talk about the bar that we work at for free? I'm like, if I was at a place where I could easily do that without worrying about having to pay for my phone bill, my electricity, my rent, I would do it. But I'm not.
Can I tell you this? And I think that this, especially, like I said, this is not. I wish I had a bigger audience, because I want all the young people in the audience to really understand something. You are still being treated like interns, even though you're pretty much an expert. You're an expert at your field, even though you're very young. You're pretty much an expert in your field, and to be treated like you're an intern and to be expected to do things for free, y'all need to really start saying, "Look, I've proven my worth. Start paying for it."
If you're a young queen and you expect to get paid after your first show, no, baby.
No.
I want you to show me what you fucking have. Yeah, I want you to show me how much you're worth.
Yeah, exactly. But we're talking about where you are at, where you have proven your worth time and time again.
And unfortunately, I have turned down things like recently because like, can you do it for free? I'm like, oh, bitch. No. I hate to say it, but I'm sorry, no. Like, I'm like, you want me to style a wig for you? You want me to... First of all, I wear a fucking steel corset. If anyone knows what a steel corset will bruise you for 3 days.
Yes, I know. I know what a steel corset is. And by the way,
I wear
I don't
pads bigger. I wear pads bigger than myself.
Good Lord!
So if you want this voluptuous body to be at your fucking gig,
anyone who thinks drag is easy, bitch, please, no, it is not easy. There's so much work that goes into, and so much work, so much time. Let me ask you a question. Are you?
Yes.
Do you make your own clothes? Do you have sewing skills? Do you have
I sew masks. That's what I'm doing right now. I sell masks to people, like fabric masks. I'm like, they're okay quality. I sell them for $7, and they're pretty decent because they're nice fabric and stuff. But that's what I'm doing right now. Is just like I'm selling masks to people, and I actually I try every month. I try to send my mom 20 masks because my mom works for a retirement center, and I just always send her masks because my mom is a fucking hero. She's literally having to deal with people with COVID, and I'm so happy that she has not been diagnosed. But I sent her masks. I sent her some sort of a thank you thing because my mom is literally fucking in the war zone having to deal with all this, and I just try to and it's so sad because the other day she called me and she broke down and she said,
is she a doctor? Is she a nurse?
No, she's actually a nurse assistant, but she's the one that changes all the old people. She's the one that moves them around. And she called me the other day. She's like, I think I have COVID, and I was exposed to someone for 2 days, and I thought they didn't have it, and I didn't wear my mask. And she cried to me on the phone, and I was like, bitch, why are you not taking precaution? You can't trust anyone.
That's true.
Yeah, and thank God she didn't have it. Now she gets tested every week, but I feel it's so crazy. And for those people that are on the front line doing that, my fucking heart and my good energy goes to them because they're. Can I tell you something?
Yes,
in
please.
Mexico, they are mistreated. They are looked at if they were the problem, if they were the issue. The citizens in Mexico are mad at nurses. They jump them. They fucking beat shit out of them because they think they're the reason why people die. I'm like, no, these people are here to fucking save your life.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
like, and you can't hate on them. They are trying their best, and unfortunately, shit happens, and people are so uncareful with everything, and just. All you have to do is wear your fucking mask and don't leave your house.
Yeah, exactly.
All it is.
We could have COVID pretty much licked if everybody would wear your fucking mask.
Literally, I will. If you don't have a mask, I will literally give you a free fucking mask.
I know. This was an accident, by the way. I had planned this purposely. I was doing a Pride episode, and the video was not supposed to go on the Pride group that I meant to put it on. I meant to put it on another group. And it was simply, I was telling Houstonians, put your motherfucking mask on, wash your motherfucking hands, put your motherfucking mask on, and social distance 6 feet, motherfuckers. And I got a lot of hits, which I was not expecting. I actually put it in Pride Parade. And it got so many hits and so many laughs. It was ridiculous. And I was like, I was trying to have I wasn't trying to have a serious moment, but I was trying to just, I'm frustrated. I work in food. I work behind a bar, and my bars are closed. And to my fellow bartenders are suffering right now because people are being stupid. And I realize that when alcohol and people are involved, that people tend to be a little loose. Now, look, and I have said this before, and I'm not saying this is probably, if I do have COVID, this is probably not what happened. But yes, I have my little neighborhood bar that I go to. I took my mask off a couple of times. Yes, that's what happened. But that was months ago. That was like a month ago. So whatever's happening now, we'll find out. We'll get the details. But I've learned my lesson.
So it's scary.
You know, my brother, like I said, was in the hospital, and the fact that I have mild symptoms. And like I said, today when I went, usually when I walk, even if I walk, some days, and it's been going on for a little bit now, some days when I'm walking like up and down the street, and it is super hot outside at the same time. When I'm walking, I can barely breathe. So when I get into the house, you know, I have to calm myself down because I can barely breathe. And, you know, I have anxieties and all this other stuff. So sometimes I have anxiety attacks on top of it and all this other stuff. So, yeah, it can be kind of scary. Luckily, I was given a nebulizer the last time that I had issues. And I never used it because once the antibiotics kicked in, I didn't need it. But luckily, I had it laying around because my doctor said, just in case.
Yeah.
One squirt and you should be fine. And I've been using it every now and then to, like, you know, to clear my lungs out a little bit. So it's helped. And like I said, today I woke up, there was no wheezing. My lungs felt pretty good. I actually walked a lot today and I didn't have shortness of breath or any of that stuff. I still need to get the test taken because I need to know if I did have it, then I might be at the end of it. Or I might be in the middle of it and my body's starting to heal. Or I don't have it and then I just have a bacterial infection and I just need to go to the clinic and get some antibiotics and get it taken care of. So that I can start having people in the studio again because I need people in the studio again. I did have someone last week, Jacob Socialite. And if y'all listen to my last episode, he's a local artist. He does some incredible work. He's also on OnlyFans. I want to promote him again. I don't
even say anything about OnlyFans.
Yes.
I had to take mine down because all my content was with my ex.
Well, I discovered OnlyFans on Twitter during the lockdown phase. And on my Twitter page was being blown up with a lot of dick pics, which, by the way, I'm okay with. I was a little...
NSF, what is it? NSF pics are welcome.
Yes. I got... on Twitter, I didn't realize that you could be really bad on Twitter.
Baby Twitter.
Baby I'm like,
Twitter,
whoa.
Baby tweets, baby.
Twitter is all about the self-expression, especially when it comes to dicks. I'm like, good Lord. Good Lord.
I found so many people.
Every now and then.
I found one person on Houston that was on Twitter, and I found them all.
Yeah.
I was working... for me to be a bartender at the Eagle, I have to be a security guard. And I met all these people, super nice. And then I found their Twitters, and I'm like, like, y'all want a collaboration? Okay.
Well, I feel like, because we're getting close to the end of the show, and I feel like that I need to go further into. We really didn't get as far into. We got the history of your travels and all this other stuff and everything else, but I don't really. And we touch base on your experiences in Florida. Let me ask you a question: How do you see the Houston? Have you had time to see the Houston drag scene?
I will say that Blackberry is the reason why I'm here. You know, Blackberry is drag queen. She is the reason why I'm here. She has always told me, come here. If you come here, I can book you. If you come here, I can, you know, like help you. And she has always tried to get me to come here. And every time I try to come here, something happens and I can't make it. And I told her, and I was like, bitch, I'm coming to Houston. And she's like, okay, whatever. I made it to Houston. And I was like, bitch, I'm in Houston. And she was like, are you really? And I was like, yeah, I fucking made it.
So where are we? Where do you feel? What little experience? I don't know how much experience you have in the drag community here in Houston.
I have not. I don't have much, to be honest. I don't even. I haven't even done drag here in general.
Because I would be so interested to see your drag aesthetic here in Houston being done. I
will say that it's a little bit different because my style of drag is very alternative. I'm a very punk rock, like if not super seductive, and they don't have much of that. I feel like from what I've seen, it's very like top 50 drag music.
because
Like, I don't see anyone spitting blood. I don't see anyone doing like one of my numbers that I'm known for is just seeing someone on stage, and I haven't seen anything wild like that here.
I think
once I have my foot in the door, and once it's in there after this COVID, or once drag shows are allowed again, I can do it.
Because I can't wait to see. I think from hearing your experiences in Florida, I think Houston Drag needs a bit of a shot in the arm. My biggest complaint 3 or 4 years ago was the fact that how come there are never any drag queens from the drag queens on RuPaul's Drag Race have been from Dallas and from Austin. And I'm like, why have there never been any drag queens from Houston? And Rich Lux, who is
Rich Lux.
Yes.
I know Rich Lux.
He did a small documentary, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, about Houston drag, and he had if I recall, he had Jasmine Masters was on it.
Yes.
I think who else was Alyssa Edwards, because she's not that far from she's near Lubbock. So she's in Texas. So I know she's been to Houston several times. And I heard them talking about how unique and wonderful Houston drag is and all this other stuff. So, but I think that was 2015, maybe 2016 when that video, when his little documentary came out. So I'm very curious to see where we are when it comes to Houston drag. I think that
absolutely.
Houston drag
is evolutionary, so it changes with time. And I feel like now I've met so many queens from even this COVID through Blackberry that I'm like, y'all have so much potential. Like y'all are literally doing the thing, but like right now we can't do shit until this COVID thing happens.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is the time for Houston drag to start I want to say reviving and evolving, because I think this is the time where creative people need to get together and say, hey, while we're taking a break and while we're not performing and all this other stuff, what do we need to do to draw in the crowds? What do we need to do to make Houston drag exciting? I think there needs to be a drag think tank, actually. People who get together and talk about that, because I think Houston drag has such potential to be amazing,
and they're badass, and they're badasses here.
And I think from the earlier days, I have if I can get him to meet you, there is one. He is a collector of drag from Houston in the early days, in the 80s and 90s, and he was part of the drag scene for years. Jason Carr, and I've been trying to get him on the show, but he's a little bit shy when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I've been trying to get him on the show for a while to talk about drag from the past and where drag can go in the future. But I really do think that drag here in Houston needs a revival, and I think that
it needs something different.
It needs to wake up.
It needs something to pop. Yeah,
it needs to pop. It needs to jump onto the scene. I think that Houston drag could be unique and fun and crazy, and it needs to have people who, I think it needs to have an infusion of younger blood. I think it needs to have an infusion of creative minds and people who are not afraid to take it to the next level and maybe crack a few eggs, maybe not crack a few eggs, break a few heads, if I will, when it comes to how we see and perceive drag in this city. So I've had a good time, and I want to have you back on again, because I need to do more. We need to talk about your drag persona a little bit more. I feel like we've talked about everything, and we've had a great time, and I wanted to get a feel and get to know you, because I feel like that, one, you like the city, and I feel like you're going to be here for a while. So
I know. Don't say that.
No. When I say that, I say that not because of COVID, but I feel like that you're willingly going to be here for a while.
No, I know. I love it here.
Because you seem to like the city and everything else. So I feel like you're going to be here for a while. So I think I I think I want to take advantage of that and have you around more often to talk about it. So, so that we can really, like I said, I think there needs to be a drag think tank on how to redo drag in Houston. So,
absolutely,
I think there needs to be a renaissance because in the 80s, Houston drag was amazing. It was on top of its game. It was some of the best in the world. And then it went through a downturn. And I don't know if Drag Race had anything to do with it. I don't think Drag Race had anything to do with it.
I think if anything, Drag Race helped it.
So,
yeah, but
so like I said, I would really like to get into more conversations about it. So, well, we've reached the end of the show. And
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
Who are you rooting for on Drag Race?
Oh, my God. Can I be honest?
Okay, tell me.
I'm rooting for Jujubee, but I think Shea Coulee is going to win. Shea Coulee, this bitch has been...
She's evolutionary. Very evolutionary.
She is very... Her runway is amazing.
Impeccable. Nothing wrong.
Impeccable. Jujubee, she has a force of nature. She is funny. She has personality. She has all this other stuff. Now, I will say this. And I've noticed this trend with RuPaul's Drag Race. We still don't have
an Asian queen.
We still don't have an Asian queen, and we don't have a Hispanic queen. And
no, we don't.
We don't. And as much as I would love, honestly, on the All Stars too, all these queens are. Who was the last All Star? If I remember correctly, all four of them are. Let me make sure because I don't want to make anybody feel.
Trinity Taylor and Monet Exchange were the double wins, and the last one I don't remember.
Yeah, but that's a tie. So.
What are we on? All Stars 5? I don't remember.
Yeah, we're on All Stars 5.
It was Chad Michaels won.
No. The last one was season 4 was what's her name? Who I thought it was going to be Ben Della Creme. It should have been Ben Della Creme. I don't mean no harm to Trixie Mattel.
Yeah.
I don't mean no harm to Trixie Mattel at all. But I thought it should have been Ben Della Creme.
Well, Ben Della Creme left.
I know. But if if she had stayed in, it would have been Ben Della. Everybody knows it would have been Ben Della Creme. It would have been Ben. It would not be Trixie Mattel. It would have been Ben Della Creme.
Absolutely.
But you know, it's still a competition. Trixie won, so I got to give her props. She still won. So that's all. That's what it. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. But if I remember correctly, there's still not a person of color.
No, there is. Oh, Monet Exchange won.
Yeah. But she tied.
That was like a double
that was a double win. So that doesn't.
Like a half of a.
Yeah, that's like a half of a. Yeah.
But can I tell you, if Jujubee wins, I don't even care. I don't even get the other two out of there. Like Miss Cracker has kind of like a low key offensive name. Like, why has anyone talked about that? Miss Cracker has an offensive name. Miss Cracker, like.
You know what? I don't think anything really. To be quite honest. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest. Miss Cracker, she has the fashion, but she's dull. She is completely dull.
Boring.
She is boring. She is not. Let's just be honest. It's going to come down to Shea Coulee and Jujubee. Miss Cracker, she's just too boring. She's like the Pearl of.
She is.
She's like a Pearl from the other season. She is. She's just boring. No one, and everybody's like, "Oh well, she made it to the top 3, but yeah, no, she ain't going nowhere." Yeah,
she is not going anywhere.
She ain't going nowhere. It's going to come down. Shea Coulee and Jujubee have been the talk of this entire season.
Jujubee is so good.
Jujubee is so good, and Shay's her fashion. Oh my God.
Yeah.
She is up there with Raj and with
Raja. Even Miss Fame. Miss Fame was so fashion.
Yeah, Miss Fame. But my favorite of all time when it comes to fashion,
Raven.
No, not Raven. Lord. Mine has season 6 winner. The Young Queen.
Violet Chachki?
Violet Chachki. Oh my God, her fashions were so amazing.
Yeah,
that corset where it was tucked in oh my God, I fell to the floor. I'm like, this bitch can't breathe. This bitch cannot breathe. And she tucked it in so tight. And oh my God, Violet Chachki, that bitch was.
She's another, yeah.
Yeah, that bitch.
She was on top of her game.
21. The bitch had zero personality. That bitch has zero personality, but she made it work on the runway. She made it work in all the challenges. But the bitch has zero personality. For a little bit, I didn't even like that bitch. But every time I saw her runway, I was floored.
Yeah.
That bitch could not do no wrong. I was floored. Shea Coulee is that bitch. So I put her up there with Raven, with Raj, and Violet Chachki. Shea Coulee is just she's the T. So she is the T. So it's really going to come down to: are we going to go with Super Fashion Queen, or are we going to go with
personality?
Personality probably could be a superstar, even if she doesn't win. Juju B is already a drag royalty. She is a superstar. She's gonna be up there.
So happy. I was so happy when they brought her back. Because Juju B is one of my favorite, and she is so real. Look at all the camera time they give her.
I know. You know what I would have loved?
Literally.
I watched the first episode of Drag Race Canada, and I went.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. Girl,
where did you watch it?
I actually watched it on Facebook. They actually had the entire 1 hour episode, the first episode. And, girl, it was boring. Rue is not on this episode. Rue is not.
I heard that it gets better, though.
It is not.
I heard that it's like season 1 of Drag Race. So
yeah.
You have to bear with that.
Yeah, it's season 1 of Drag Race, but even season 1 of Drag Race was fun. This was not fun. I'm like, I'm bored with these judges are boring. I would love
to watch it again.
I will probably. I hope it would get better. I'm going to try to find out where it is.
I heard that the reason why they are such an issue is because the judges don't know each other, like Rue and Michelle, like all them,
even in the first season, Rue and
Santino and all them.
They all knew each other and they all got along very well. These judges don't know each other. They don't know they have to
build chemistry.
Yeah, they have to build chemistry. So so it's going to take a little. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But I would love to see. I would love to see Juju be a permanent part of some judges panel. I would love to see it because that girl could read you for filth and not have a problem, and that would be fun and that would be amazing TV. So even if Juju doesn't win, I would love to see her be a permanent part of Drag Race. Some capacity.
I'm going to say, out of everyone, I really want Juju to win, but if Shea wins, then I'm okay. I'm okay.
Because I really would love RuPaul. Now, I'm a little upset with RuPaul. I've been upset with RuPaul for the last 2 years because I feel like that she needs to. I think that her world of old school drag is done. And I think that she needs to. I'm not saying that she needs to step aside. It's her show, and I don't think that would be the right thing to do. But I think that maybe we need to start seeing different aesthetics of drag being introduced to the show. I think we are still seeing old school ways of drag. Although I do agree with her, I do think that the young queens they need to learn how to sew and do their own makeup. I don't understand why these queens don't know how to do this. You need to know how to do all this stuff. This is what makes you a better drag queen when you know how to do your own shit.
Sewing is hard. I will say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've known how to sew for a minute, but I just hate doing it. And then it wasn't until recent where I was like, okay, sewing isn't that bad. Like I can do it. It's a trade that nobody wants to do, but it's like something. If you're a queen, you have to know and do it. Like if you buy an outfit at fucking at Ross, or if you buy an outfit anywhere, you have to know how to alter that shit. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Because like if not, because like you can't just go out there just wearing something that you bought. So you have to put it to your body.
That's true.
Okay.
So we're gonna end this episode. I had such a good time, Scott. And we're gonna talk now for the rest of y'all out there. We're gonna talk a little bit because we just gonna talk because I had such a good time talking to you. We're gonna end the show, but Scott and I are gonna talk a little bit more after the show because I need to have this bitch on a little bit more often because I need her to like be able to talk about this stuff every now and then.
But
and
I can talk about anything.
Yes, exactly.
You want to talk about climate change?
Yeah, we can talk about all of that. But I need to have this bitch on the show more often. So anyway, so to all of you out there, thank you for listening. Girl, we went over by probably about 20 minutes. We went over about.
We were like
but I know, but I think I feel like it's one of the more entertaining shows that I'm regrowing the brand, so to speak, after I lost all the stuff after all my breakups and all this other stuff when it comes to the show. So I'm regrowing the brand, but the last few episodes have been amazing, have been fun, and I am seriously having a good time doing this now, whereas before I didn't know what direction the show was going to go in, but now I pretty much do. So I'm having a good time. So to everybody out there, please social distance. I don't know why I have to keep telling you bitches this, but social distance, wear your mask, and wash your hands. And of course, next week I will let y'all know what's going on with me when it comes to COVID, so y'all will know what's going on. But like I said to everyone out there, just have a good day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world, and we're out. And I need to find the music for the out music. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Which one I'm going to go with? Which out music am I going to go with? Let's see. Oh, I'm not going to go with any out music. We're just going to call it out. So we're out. We'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.